All her life, Esme Andrade had wanted to have children. After 6 attempts at fertility treatment, she and her husband Manuel became the proud parents of a beautiful baby boy. Years of resilience and struggle should have been over, but now Esme was struck with a depression that shook her to her very core.
In the magazines, they have this picture of perfection. But now in reality, it's a complete different story. I felt so disappointed in myself. I hated being a mother at that point in my life. I was struggling, I couldn't understand, and I started becoming very teary. And the fact that I'm a perfectionist, nothing is working, it drove me crazy.
What happened?
I phoned my best friend, which already had a child, and I said to her, why didn't anyone tell me this? That the reality is not like that. And that's where I broke down.
Because we don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how. We don't know how to ask for help. Because we come from a generation where the women are strong. Our parents never let us in on how hard it is to be a grown-up. So they made it look easy.
This one Friday afternoon, things just got so much for me. I was standing in the kitchen and I had a glass in my hand and I just broke the glass. As I looked down, I just saw the blood dripping from my hands. And I phoned my husband and I said to him, he has to come home. I can't anymore. I can't.
When I got here, she took me to the corner of the garden and she said, I've got a big problem. And she started crying. I said, what's the problem? She said, I don't know. And then she started crying. She said she's scared she's going to do something to Matthew or she's going to do something. She just doesn't trust herself.
There was times that I felt like to just end my life, to commit suicide.
No one would have ever thought that there was something wrong with her because she hid it so well.
For so many women suffering postpartum depression, the fear that you might hurt your child is paralyzing. There's enormous confusion and self-judgment. You're supposed to want to bond with your child, but you can't. Lost in a numbness that's as unexpected as it is inexplicable. For Esme, these feelings took her to the edge. She'd fought so hard and been through so much to have Matthew.
I lived my life just to be perfect.
Again, Esme needed to understand what was going on and returned to her research. Postpartum depression is not something many people speak about, despite the enormous numbers of women who suffer from it. Eventually, Esme admitted herself to a clinic to try and understand what was happening and why.
I realized that I had to get better. If I want to be a better mom to my son, I first have to make myself better to be a better mom. So that was the motivation for me to stay in the clinic and to get better.
At Kenilworth Clinic, Esme returned to her childhood memories and began to understand the impact that the fertility treatment had had on her. Despite only seeing Matthew for visits at the end of each day, it was a good place for her, a time to heal.
Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got pain, you know, and it's how you deal with your pain that makes you come out better.
What was your biggest leap of faith in Kenilworth Clinic?
I learned that it's okay to be vulnerable. In the garden of the clinic is a tree. And the one day we had a whole seminar on the reason why the tree was there. And they explained to us that some of the leaves is like at the bottom of the ground, and they symbolized it as the dark place. You know, some of the roots that are on top of the ground, those are the roots that fighting to come out. When I look at the tree, I see it in a complete different dimension, because what it symbolizes that you can rise above whatever you're going through. After Matthew's birth and, all of those things, it just brought me back that no matter what happens, God is always there with you. He carries you through everything, even in the bad times. He is there for you, and you just have to go back to that place where you know where you get your strength from.
So with all that had happened, to have your first child, and knowing that you might have postpartum depression again, you decided to have another child.
I just said to myself, if I don't take the risk, I'll never know.